Hi all. In this session, we are going to discuss about what are the different types of methods we can create in our Java program. So, as we are aware of that, in the previous session, we have discussed about what's the instance methods and what are the non-static. We can say instance methods are nothing but non-static. What are the static methods? So, we have two types of methods we have discussed right previously. So, just I'll try to give the brief summary of that. Instance methods and static method. Instance method we are calling it as a non-static methods also. So when we can create the instance method, so if you want to do the repeated operations, then we can go and create the instance methods. So if you want to do limited operations or one operations, that time we can create a static methods. So instance methods, how we can call the instance methods? By using the with respect to the object name. How can we call the static method with respect to the class name? So main, what is the difference between instance method and static method in the sense, if you create instance method, memory is allocating whenever you create an object, that many times memory will be created. If you create a static method, when class loads, by that time only one time memory allocation will happen. So this already we have discussed. In this session, we will see what are the different types of methods we can create in our Java book. So before trying to understand, first let's form the syntax. What's a method syntax? So let's see. So I'm just taking one example. Driving license is a one process. So if you want to apply driving license, you have to submit IDs, right? ID proofs of your things. So ID1, ID2, and documents, all the things you are processing. So document driving license process starts when you upload or when you send the your respective documents. So similar way, I'm just with this example, I'm trying to make the syntax of method. So driving license is nothing but in our case, just method name. So it's a user defined type. Any method name you can give it. So all these IDs we can consider as a parameters. Parameters, if any means some methods, if you can write the with parameters or without parameters also, it's optional. We can create the methods. And once driving license we can get it, I mean you can get it one driving license, right, in the form of, we can say simply one document. Okay, you can say driving license, you got it, this is a document. So here also similarly, if you have the method, right, it returning something. If that is returning that return type, what this method is returning, that return type you should provide. So once a driving license you got it, so it's specific to some areas, right? In India, if you take this driving license permit to drive the vehicles within the India, that means it restricting this driving license. Similarly, if you want to restrict this method, we can use the access modifiers. By using the access modifiers, you can restrict this method. So we have public, private, protected. This later we'll see what is the public, private, protected, how it works. So for now, we are just understanding we can use the access modifiers. By using this, we can protect your method. Similarly, while processing your IDs, if any exception comes, right, that we have to handle that by using the throws keyword. This we'll see later, but just try to understand the syntax purpose. So similarly for the methods also, throws exceptions. So this is a complete syntax of method. So by using this, we can try to see some methods. How can I write the some methods we can consider? Suppose examples. So few methods we will try to construct here. So let me take public void. Void is a return type. If that method is not returning any value, we can use the void return type. So void, this is a method name. I'm considering as a method name as a M1 here. So you can pass values int A, int B. So that means you are passing some parameters for this method. Similarly, you can write the method. So let me take one more private. Access modifier is different. Private, I can take it. And integer. Now, return type I'm writing as an integer. So let me take method name as a M2 here. So what I'm doing here is, so I'm it's a method type. So we are so this method is returning some integer value. That is the reason we are mentioning the return type I am adding here. In the similar way, can we write one more method? So just access modifier, I'm different access modifier I'm using. So with this, let me take M3. So this method is returning. Okay, I'm taking one input also. So you are passing some parameter also. So once this parameter takes as input, it is returning some value. That return value, suppose let me take, that is a return type as integer. This method is returning integer type of value. So we will see that with the examples. Just try to understand this one. So before seeing this execution, one more some terminologies we have to understand here. Method signature. What is a method signature here? So method signature is nothing but a method name and parameters. This we are calling as a method signature, not the return type, not the access modifier. When we call method signature, that is nothing but a method name and parameters. That is a method signature. So in the previous example, M1, and we are passing some parameters, right? This is a method signature of that method. M2 method, if I consider, this is a method signature of M2. And one more method we have written, right? Like M3 in C. So these are the method signatures we are calling. Method signature is nothing but a method name of that method and parameters. This is a clear. Next, one more terminology we need to understand here. So what is a method declaration? What is a method implementation? What is a method calling? So these three terminologies we should aware of that. Method declaration is nothing but if you create any method, suppose this method is not returning anything, void. So let's say void M1. So in this case, so this parameter starting and ending, right? This is a syntax. So return type, method name, and I'm not passing any parameters for this. This we are calling as a method declaration. So once you can declare the method, you can write some logic, right? So this logic we are calling as a method implementation. So once it is ready, so this method, if you call into the any program, other program, let's consider. How do I call this method? This is a static, right? No, non-static, correct? It's not a static. That means non-static we are calling. How can we call the non-static method with respect to the object name? How can we create the object? Let's say this is a class is a test. So this class within the test class, this method is available. How can we create the object with the test, right? I mean, class name, right? Let's say class name is test. Object name is a something. Obj is I'm giving new operator with constructor. So what will happen with this object name? I can call this method, right? Obj dot m1. So this calling is nothing but a method calling we are saying. So method declaration is a declare the method and the logic inside that logic whatever you're writing that is a method implementation. When you call that method, that terminology we're calling as a method calling. So let's try to see these examples. Okay, I have taken different methods here. So let's say I'm taking one class first. I'm returning one method. What is the method name? It's a return type is void. This method is not returning any value. That is the reason I'm using the void. It's a return type. So method name is method without parameter. So inside that parameters I'm not passing anything. So simply I'm writing one statement. I am from method without parameters. And one more method I am taking public is a access modifier, and this also returning, I'm not returning anything here, that's just using void return type, and method name is a method with parameter. In this case, in this method I am passing some parameters int a and int b. These are the inputs we have to pass. When you pass these inputs, then only this method will execute it. So similarly, I'm just writing one statement. I am from method parameter, so I'm just printing whatever you are giving as input a and b. I'm printing. Similarly, I am taking one more example. As a public access modifier simply I have taken, and integer return type I am taking. That means the method is returning some value. What value it is returning? First, it is this method is accepting two parameters, int x, int y. So these are the inputs of this method, right? So once it will take the x and y as the inputs of this program, it is returning x plus y. That means suppose let me consider x is a 7, y is a 7. 7 plus 7, 14. Some 14 is a integer data type value, right? That it is returning. So this method is returning something in the form of integer. That is the reason that return type you should add into the, create here actually. You should mention here in the method. Okay. So as we are aware of that in the main method program, JVM looks for the main method of the program. So once main method detects, it will start executing step by step, right? Here, what we are doing here is if you observe that this is a non-static method. Non-static method, how can we call with the respect to the object name? Object, how can we create with the respect to class, right? So I'm just creating one class, one object. and new operator, and this is a constructor. So what happens? This is an object name. MTD with respect to object name, I'm calling this non-static method. So ideally what happens? This control goes to here and this statement will execute. After that, what will happen? Again, one more method I'm calling with respect to object. So 10 and 20 I'm passing. So 10, 20. So just I'm printing that values, whatever you are passing. And similarly, one more thing, what is this here? Here we are returning some value. What simply I have taken is, I am just taking one add variable. Integer add is a one variable. I'm just taken. So what I'm saving into this variable, just I'm calling this with respect to object name. Object name is what? MTD. MTD dot, this is a my method name. I'm just calling and passing inputs. What are the two inputs? Int x, int y. 7 comma 7. So what happens? It will control goes to here, 7 plus 7, 14. This returning 14. The value is 14, right? That this method returns the 14. That 14 I am simply adding into the add value and the variable. So that I am printing the add value or variable we can say. So simply that 7 plus 7, 14 should return. So let's quickly try to execute this program. So how to execute this program? As we are aware of that. Okay, let me take this. Okay, how to Java C and method class name dot Java, right? Just first compile it. So successfully compiled. How to execute it? Java and method. Enter it. So what will happen here? First method it is calling. It is taking as a I am from method without param. Second method it is calling I am from method with param. And so just a value is 10 and b value is 20 I am printing. So here if you observe, it is returning some value int x and y. So 7 and 7 are the input of this method. 7, 7. And control goes to here. 7 plus 7, 14. This method it will return the 14 value. That's an integer, right? That 14 I am just saving into the one variable and that variable I am printing. That is the reason it's just simply it's printing 14. So if you want to just observe like 10 and 10 I am passing now. So 10 plus 10, 20, it should print now. So let me save it and just go and execute this program. So now see 20 printed, 10 plus 12. I hope you understand. If actually I have considered all the non-static methods, if you want, you can change this as a some static methods and call with respect to the class name and we can just work around. So I hope this understand different types of methods. We'll meet in the next sessions. Thank you.